Swadee krab and welcome to ASEAN Connect. ASEAN is diverse in culture, with each country having their own unique tradition and way of life. But at the same time, ASEAN has a lot of commonalities, especially in arts, which is a universal language that can be conveyed without the need to use any spoken language as a means of communication. And on occasions, we find that these countries in ASEAN have had cultural influences and exchanges with others from outside the region, molded together to become their own identities. These are the stories to be told on today's ASEAN Connect. Please stay tuned.
From Laos to Asean, ladies and gentlemen, may I call you once again, and we would like to welcome all of you to the opening ceremony of the International Puppet Festival 2014 at Chiang Mai.
This is the International Puppet Festival 2014 at Lanna Traditional House Museum in Chiang Mai Province, Thailand, an event Chiang Mai University has organized in collaboration with the Tourism Authority of Thailand for the second consecutive year. The event's objective is to promote cultural learning among neighboring countries in ASEAN through dissemination and inheritance of puppet performance, an ancient artistic tradition of each country sharing the commonality of puppet culture.
From Thailand by the Royal Puppet.
So we're trying to use all our space for all the activities like demonstrations, exhibitions, for the people, the visitors, to come and can participate with the puppeteers, with the puppets, you know. And also we do have performances as well.
Participants are not only able to enjoy the exquisite performances of 17 troupes from 10 countries, but have also been able to increase their knowledge in theory and in practice through workshops in arts, puppetry, performance techniques, as well as learning similarities and differences of puppets among the ASEAN countries.
Oh, don't come so close to me. I'm very embarrassed. What are you doing right here, courting me like that?
In addition to puppet troupe representation from ASEAN, this year's event also welcomed puppet troupes from East Asia, including China and Japan, whose puppetry cultures are exquisite with distinctive identities and are rare to be seen.
So from each country, we're trying to spread the variety of puppets like rod puppets, hun krabok, shadow puppets, nang talung, hun ngao, and also string puppets and contemporary puppets.
Puppetry is a culture that has long been developed in human society, initially created as a tool for communication, and has then been developed into a beautiful performance of art with related stories in almost all cultures around the world. The International Puppet Festival 2014 at Chiang Mai, Thailand is the showground for long-standing puppet arts performances of countries in ASEAN. The Thai Rod Puppet Show by Ban Tukatun Troupe was established in 1997. The troupe has conserved the art of traditional Thai rod puppet and at the same time developed new performance techniques, creating very interesting shows. The application of multimedia to create wonderful scenes, voicing and use of music to produce a musical drama have added flavors and enjoyment to their performances. puppets have also been developed to make more movements than the traditional rod puppets. Yet the magnificence of Thai puppetry has still been impressively maintained.
Please notice the hand, the arm, elbow.
The movements using 16 concealed strings to control 40 parts in the puppet to create beautiful gestures are of the Roy puppets. The early shows of Thai puppetry originated in the early Ayutthaya period. With the average size of 1 meter, Roy puppets are the largest of all Thai puppets. Roy puppet performances have been extinct from Thailand for over centuries. However, the Roy puppet performance under the troupe Hun Luang Kru Kai has been revived through creations of replicas from the ones kept at the National Museum.
หุ่นหลวงเป็นหุ่นกลไกไม่เหมือนกับหุ่นที่ละครเล็กหรือหุ่นกระบอกที่เป็นหุ่นจับแล้วเชิดได้เลยหุ่นหลวงต้องผ่านกระบวนการคิดว่าต้องดึงสาย1สาย2สาย3จะให้เป็นท่าลำ1 2 3ฮะก็จะต้องจำตรงนี้อีกนิดหนึ่งแล้วก็องค์ความรู้ของเขาเนี่ยมันหายไปกว่า100 ปีซึ่งไม่มีใครสืบรู้เลยว่าเล่นยังไงนะฮะครั้งนี้ก็เป็นการฟื้นฟูขึ้นมาใหม่ด้วยนะฮะ
The traditional Thai puppet theatre is a performance art that was initiated in the early Ratanakosian period, which has replicated the Roy puppet in Ayutthaya period, with the difference in that the traditional Thai puppet requires 2 to 3 puppeteers to control one puppet, while the puppeteers also have to express emotions and dance along with the puppets. After the disappearance of over 50 years, the traditional Thai puppet has been revived and performed again in 1985 under the troupe name Joe Lou's Traditional Puppet Theatre.
สมัยก่อนเนี่ยจะเห็นว่าการเชิดหุ่นเนี่ยโดยที่ไม่ได้เห็นผู้เชิดเพราะฉะนั้นไม่ต้องออกท่าทางแต่ปัจจุบันนี้พอเราทำออกมาเชิดข้างหน้าทักษะของมันก็คือวิชานาฏศิลป์ไทยนะฮะซึ่งต่อยอดจากการแสดงโขนละครรำไทยนั่นเองนะฮะโดยเอามาสอดใส่ค่ายกับคนเชิดแล้วก็ตัวละครนั้นก็ไล่รำไปพร้อมๆกันนั่นเองครับ
From being street performers at Chiang Mai Walking Street every Sunday, Joe and Na have created their own puppets from everyday objects, including Thai traditional puppets and contemporary puppets, which they use in their performances. They also sang and composed songs themselves, being street artists with unpredictable income. Eventually, after having gained enough experience, they strided to become a successful puppet troupe under the name of Chiang Mai Hun Chang Phon. The sensational movement of puppets with music full of emotions have earned Chiang Mai Hun Chang Phon 2 international awards at the World Festival of Puppet Art in Prague, Czech Republic in 2009 and 2010. In the history of Thai television, there has not been a show for children that continued to generate happiness and laughter for a long number of years as Chao Kun Thong.
เขาก็เก็บนิทานไว้เข้าไปในป่าเขาก็เก็บนิทานไว้
Chao Kun Tong Puppet Show, a high-rating children's program, continue to create new quality shows for children amidst pressure from increasing number of programs for children and others.
ไปดื่มน้ำนี่เข้าไปจะไม่มีวันตื่นขึ้นมาอีกเลยใช้สิ่งใส่
The International Puppet Festival 2014 at Chiang Mai, Thailand, is an opportunity for fans to meet Chao Kun Tong, who came equipped with charisma and knowledge in Thai moral and ethics, as well as Thai language skills.
เหนื่อยจังเลยนอนพักก่อนดีกว่า
Yeah, they are surgical done by human beings. So they used to have masks, right? Do you know this? Nice.
This is the Japanese traditional rod puppet, which has been modified from puppets used in religious ceremonies into full entertainment performance since around the 7th to the 8th century. The success and popularity of rod puppet performance in the Japanese culture have peaked at the end of the 17th century before it slowly faded towards the 18th century as kabuki, the show which uses real people, gained popularity. The art of puppet performance has then been revived in the early 19th century in the city of Osaka. The Japanese rod puppet performance has been registered as a world's intangible cultural heritage in 2003. Mulat Theatre's children puppets from the Philippines was established in 1977 by Emilia Lapina Bonificio, a Filipino composer and stage drama professional who has been dubbed Mother of Philippine Puppetry. Puppets of Mulat Theatre is a combination of rod or modern shadow puppet and traditional puppet performed by children puppeteers for children audience. The stories are therefore filled with enjoyment. Some are told in children's tales, some are in epics like the Ramayana, partially selected for the performance. The objectives of Puppet Theatre Troupe are for children in the Philippines to enjoy and to learn of puppet cultures, which are not confined to only Filipino culture, but also expose them to other cultures as well. Kim Giek Lo Chun Puppet Show is a Chinese opera or new puppet show from Malaysia. It is in fact a Malaysian Teochew iron rod puppetry. Kim Giek Lo Chun was established in 1989 by a Chinese opera or new family of over 4 generations. The troupe puts emphasis on various performance techniques of rod puppets with sounds from traditional Teochew musical instruments, perfectly reflecting multicultural Malaysia. And this is a puppet troupe representing Singapore, Mascots and Puppets, or MAP, which was established in 2004 by Frankie Malachi, a Singaporean puppeteer of Chinese ethnicity. The performance reflects the popularity of modern puppets or the Western puppetry, including pull-string puppet, hand puppet, and marionette, which are universally endeared and beautiful. What distinguishes puppets of Mascots and Puppets from others are the shapes and colors of the puppets that are adorable, toppled with stories and performance that grab attention of people of all ages, especially for families with children.
For Singapore, their performance is very contemporary, very modern, but at the same time, they can deliver the fact that Singapore is such a multicultural country. And when we move to Malay Chinese, we see the tradition. We see the music, the costume, the character, the story, that they're trying to keep it to the true spirit of their tradition, and it's been going on for over 50 years. It's a family enterprise. And when we move to the Philippines, we see the country, according to the director of the troupe, she said the Philippines has no tradition of their own. And in a way, that's quite liberating because they can make use of different traditions. They use rod puppet, they use shadow puppet.
The performance of pull-string puppet of Myanmar has received the most popularity and is praised as a high art with a long history tracing back 500 to 600 years. Since the 1400s, during the British occupation of Myanmar, the culture of pull-string puppetry in Myanmar reached its lowest point to a near extinction. Fortunately, it has been revived after the political situation stabilized and the people's lives returned to normal. Myanmar pull-string puppetry is mainly for entertainment, where stories are told in acts. Popular stories portrayed are stories of the great Buddha, such as Jataka, legends of ghosts and spirits that bring both bad and good fortunes, as well as local folklores and literatures.
We make the puppets by wood, but we do not think the puppets are wooden dolls. We believe they have soul. That is why we have to make everything, each details, including the genetic. And also the puppeteer, they pay respect before handling the puppets because they believe the puppet has soul. So if they pay respect, the puppet soul will be happy and he or she will dance properly. That is very, very special in Myanmar puppetry.
The beauty of Myanmar pull-string puppetry is in the details of the puppets, the brilliant craftsmanship, as well as the unique art in puppet performance. Complicated strings of each puppet are distinctive. The puppeteer cannot use the same technique of one puppet with another, meaning that the puppeteer has to learn different skills to control different puppets. What makes the performance of Theatre Dorje Gabong Lao Theatre Pupe from Lao People's Democratic Republic stand out is the use of everyday material string tied together to form shapes of human, animals and objects. This creative process is derived from the performance originated from French puppetry, garnished with food for thoughts and stories from the great Mekong culture. Although the appearance may not be as appealing as puppets of other cultures, the values in the aspects of performance and concept of Lao puppetry are second to none. The culture of puppetry is an entertainment that was very widespread in the past. It is a play filled with diverse stories of imagination, folklores, as well as great literatures of each society.
นะฮะแล้วก็เห็นแบบประเทศเพื่อนบ้านเรามาเนี่ยโดยการทักษะแลกเปลี่ยนทักษะการเชิดหุ่นกันแล้วเรามาเรียนรู้ซึ่งกันและกันความสัมพันธ์ทางไมตรีตัวนี้มันเกิดขึ้นในความผูกพันของคนไทยและคนต่างชาติอันนี้คือสิ่งที่มหัศจรรย์แล้วผมเชื่อว่ามันเป็นสิ่งที่ดีมากมันเป็นการที่เราเปิดใจคุยกันอยากรู้อะไรเราถามกันนะฮะเราเห็นศิลปะวัฒนธรรมของเขาเห็นศิลปะวัฒนธรรมของเรามันเป็นการแลกเปลี่ยนกันนี่แหละฮะคือความเป็นวัฒนธรรมวัฒนธรรมมันเชื่อมความสัมพันธ์กันได้ของเรื่องหุ่นเพราะทุกคนจะรักหุ่นด้วยกันหมดเมื่อกี้มาคุณหุ่นคณะญี่ปุ่นเขาพรีเซนต์เสร็จพอเขามาเห็นเรามาคุยกันหลังเราตื่นเต้นที่จะชมขอดูกลไกเราก็ตื่นเต้นไปขอดูกลไกหุ่นของญี่ปุ่นมาเขาก็เปิดเผยให้ดูเลยนะในตาชักคิ้วกรอกตาของเขาได้หมดซึ่งก็เป็นการแลกเปลี่ยนที่เราจะมาพัฒนาหุ่นเราญี่ปุ่นพัฒนาซึ่งไม่มีขอบเขตพรมแดนขวางกั้นเลยฮะ
We are ASEAN countries and we do have kind of similarity and the differences in our culture. So at least through puppetry, an old art form, which nowadays we can hardly see, and we bring this art form through the puppets, and also the stories and the similarity and the differences of all this can at least kind of share and experience, learn each other, you know, to prepare ourselves to know each other in the future, to keep our relationships in the future. Well, I think from through the puppets, it's really kind of something.
In this art of entertainment, puppetry can clearly convey social situations and cultures in each country. In other words, puppets can act as a mirror, better reflecting the course of lives of people in each society. And this is another element that indicates the common root of countries in ASEAN through the puppet culture, linking us together.
Puppetry is just one of the cultural traditions among the diversity of other age-old cultures in ASEAN. It is not just a way of telling stories and sharing them across the cultures, but each country has cleverly incorporated hidden messages through these performances. These messages all aim to shape and build a social norm for people in the society to behave and follow in an appropriate direction so that everyone can live together in harmony. And that is all for this edition of ASEAN Connect. See you again next time. Sawadee krap.